Golding is trying to account for every unique experience that is human. And with Simon, he's accounted for something that is probably the least clear, the most difficult to understand, and that is the process of faith. And you could water it down if you want and say belief. Golding's not talking about a specific doctrine or dogma. He's not telling people that they need to be Jews or Christians or Muslims. He's simply saying that all human beings have a capacity for this thing called faith. Let's look to the text. What is it that Simon does that seems to represent faith?
When he goes into his own little spot, he's like lazy and like one with nature.
Excellent. So meditation. All right, Allie, follow-up question. How is meditation and this process different from the processes of science?
Because they're not rational. They're not like
True. Where would Piggy look for answers? Where would the scientist look for answers?
like in
What does the scientist do during labs? What is the science which collects data? There you go, data. Okay, so the scientist is looking out there for information. Where is Simon looking for information?
within himself.
Correct. That's the difference between meditation and experimentation. Experimentation looks out into the world for information and then logically deduces from that information. Meditation looks inside for answers. Within one's heart, if you'll forgive the clumsy, cliched metaphor, within one's soul, which is almost worse. Niket.
I was going to say, like, the opposite of faith.
Meditation, spiritual revelation. Every religion you're going to look at includes some sort of mystical spiritual experience on the part of a prophet, on the part of a messiah, on the part of some sort of leader. It doesn't matter. Once again, we're not talking about a specific sect of Christianity, Judaism, Mormonism, what have you, because pretty much they all have that in common. That there is something that is irrational that can yet generate knowledge. Can you give me information, a fact that Simon seems to have without having deduced it through logic, that he just seems to know? That Ralph will be okay. Thank you. That's the one that I was looking for, Victoria. That Ralph will make it off that island okay. And even when pressed, he says, I don't know how I know that, I just know it. And you know what? He's right. He doesn't say anything about himself. And he doesn't say anything about Piggy. But he's right about Ralph. Other information that he seems just to have. Anything else?
I don't know, like, he just kind of, he doesn't really give me reasoning as to why he believes that Ralph should continue being leader.
Correct. He just feels that for some reason. Whereas Piggy would probably be able to rationally justify it. Simon just feels it. Nicket.
He wants to climb the mountain.
He wants to climb the mountain when Piggy wants to do what?
Build a fire.
Build a fire on the beach. And what does Ralph want to do? Give up. And yet Simon says we got to climb the mountain. And once again, he doesn't really know, and he can't justify why. Is Simon's the course that is best for those boys? At that moment, we've got three courses of action. Staying where we are and building a fire, giving up, or climbing the mountain to face the beast. Is Simon's the best out of those three courses of action? Faye's nodding her head, or shaking her head. Why not?
Because they don't know what's on the mountain.
True. So they don't know. It could be an actual beast, and that would be tactically unsound. Kevin.
I think it's good
Why?
because, well, in retrospect, there is no beast and it's just that pilot, and it's just like to get rid of the beast is to get rid of the fears and everything. And
Do you think that solving that problem would solve a lot of other problems on the island? I think Golding's saying that too. Now, Faye, you might disagree with that, but I think Golding's pushing us to that conclusion, and here's why. The Lord of the Flies said specifically, I'm the reason it's not working. And when he says I, he's referring to the beast. He's saying, I'm the reason it's a no-go. I'm the reason why things are the way they are. And then Golding is pushing us to believe that Simon has the correct course of action. That climbing up that mountain and facing that thing will help those boys more than just sticking their heads in the sand or giving up. I think Simon's the one who's got it. So not only does he have these irrational methods of determining information, but the information he determines is correct. It's often accurate and useful. Piggy's is often accurate and useful. So what's Golding saying about faith? It arrives at certain conclusions in different methods, and it can also generate correct conclusions. But we haven't really gotten to the strength. You got to look at something that Simon has over the other boys. Something he's able to do that nobody else is able to do. Jack is able to effectively accomplish tasks right now. He's the best problem solver. He's the best one for getting something done. Piggy's the best one to see practical solutions to problems, to see what will work long term. Ralph's the best one for making everybody sort of feel like they want to be part of the group, for building up spirits and making people want to belong. What does Simon have that nobody else has? What does he know that nobody else knows?
Well, like, he just kind of remains emotionally in the group.
True. So he's kind of insulated from everything else. Although I would say that he feels things. Remember the moment when Piggy doesn't receive any meat and Simon says, I'm not going to eat any meat if Piggy's not eating meat? I think I infer from that he's actually feeling empathy for Piggy more than anybody else is. So he might be aloof, but on the other hand, he's probably feeling things more than other kids are. Brian?
He was the only one that actually discovered the truth.
About what?
The beast.
Correct. And what the truth about Beast is the truth about what?
The arguments on that.
Which focus on? Sorry. I know, I'm not being clear, Brian. The truth about the beast is the truth about morality. Now you might look at that and say, Clarkson, where did you get that? I don't understand the inferential leap. Let's go back to the text. Simon tells the boys the beast is where? In themselves. When he says that, what does he follow it up with? He's trying to explain himself. What question does he follow it up with? No, not have you ever seen it. What's the dirtiest thing there is? Now, if you ask a group of 12-year-old and below boys, what's the dirtiest thing there is, what do they think about? Dirt, sex, maybe. They might be thinking about sex. Chances are pretty good they're thinking about poop. Right? You met 9-year-olds? My daughter has an intense fascination with fart jokes. And when I ask her, what's dirty? That's what she's going to think of, and she's going to laugh. She's not yet to the point where she's uncomfortable or thinking about the possibility of sex. She's still thinking about fart jokes. She's still on that level. So you ask a bunch of boys that age, what's the dirtiest thing there is, and how do they react to him?
They laugh.
They start cracking up. And they think, oh, because that's where their mind is going. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? That's high comedy for a boy that age. That's the apex of comic expression, poop and fart jokes. In about 3 years, it'll be sex jokes. And that's pretty much where male development ends. Moral knowledge. When he says, what's the dirtiest thing there is, what is he actually talking about? Christy, what do you think he's asking about? He's talking about the beast, says the beast is within us. He follows that up with a question, what's the dirtiest thing there is? What is he thinking of? Give you a hint of, if he's on this level, what's the dirtiest thing there is? Sorry? No. Nickette? Well, true, but
The devil?
that's something that, speak up, Brianna. Murder.
Didn't I just say murder?
I didn't hear it. I apologize. If you're mumbling it, especially you, Victoria, speak up. You got lungs, use them. Brianna's correct.